We've talked about the story of Joseph, but this time we'll talk about a story of one of his most prominent descendants, who took the lead in Egypt after him. Who could he be? He was the heir who was sentenced to death before his birth, and for his sake, more than 100,000 children were killed. His story was a revelation from Allah to Abraham, during the time when the Pharaoh of Egypt took Abraham's wife Sarah. Abraham's anger was intense, but he had nothing to do but resort to Allah. Allah revealed to him that from his progeny would come a man who would forever remove the rule of its pharaohs, and there would be no pharaoh after him. Abraham's sons passed on this news, and some thought the son was Joseph. But Joseph did not end the pharaonic rule, because the pharaoh in his time submitted to Allah. He chose Joseph for himself and brought good to him and to all of Egypt, so that Egypt awaited a year of relief after 7 lean years. As soon as Joseph died, the pharaohs returned to Egypt. The Israelites multiplied and grew in number, remaining on the religion of Abraham. Then came a new, very dangerous pharaoh. He manipulated his people, and they obeyed and believed him. While he was in his council, a person spoke about what the Israelites had passed down, that a boy would be born who would bring about the end of the pharaoh's rule. This news was confirmed by a dream Pharaoh had himself. He saw a fire coming out of Jerusalem, heading toward Egypt, completely consuming it and burning his palace. Pharaoh gathered the interpreters of dreams, soothsayers and magicians, and asked them. They said, "We do not think this dream is anything other than what the Israelites say. A boy will be born among them who will bring about the end of your reign." The pharaonic orders were issued. All the midwives were gathered. Pharaoh ordered them that every woman should kill a male child of the Israelites at his birth and bring him the head. And indeed, when an Israelite woman became pregnant, she feared for her unborn child. The killing continued until they became a humiliated minority. Their women became numerous, and their men became few. A second meeting took place between the Copts and Pharaoh. They said, "O Pharaoh, if you continue to kill their children, a day will come when we will have no one to serve us. What do you think about killing them for a year and sparing them for a year?" This decision was made. 1 year the babies would be killed, and the next year no one would be killed. The wife of Imran, from the tribe of Levi, a descendant of Abraham, became pregnant in the year when no children were killed, and she gave birth to Aaron. The very next year, when the killing of male babies was in effect, she became pregnant again. When the time of birth came, she gave birth to a male. The midwife was waiting, but Allah put a great love for this child in her heart. She held him to her chest and said, "No, by Allah, he will not be killed." The mother loved him dearly. Allah revealed to Moses' mother, "Suckle him, and when you fear for him, cast him into the river, and do not fear or grieve. We will return him to you and make him one of the messengers." Moses' mother understood the divine message, so she ordered a carpenter from the Israelites to quickly make a basket for her. She placed Moses inside and cast him into the river. She tied a rope to it, so she could pull him back at night to feed him. But the rope broke, and the basket floated toward Pharaoh's palace. Moses' mother called her daughter and told her to follow his trail. She watched him from a distance and came closer little by little. At the palace, some women saw the basket floating. They swam towards it until it settled by the palace, near the water and trees. The news reached the lady of the palace, Asiya. One of them said, "Musa," meaning a child between water and a tree, and that's how he became Moses. When they opened the basket and saw him, Moses cried. Pharaoh said, "Kill him." But Asiya said, "Do not kill him. He is a comfort to my eyes and yours. Perhaps he will benefit us." Pharaoh replied, "A comfort to your eyes, yes, but not to mine. Perhaps he will benefit you, but not me." If Pharaoh had been silent, he would have been guided, but calamity is tied to speech. They gathered wet nurses for him, but he refused the breast of every woman. Moses' sister came among the women. When she saw Asiya's sadness, she said, "Shall I show you a household that will take care of him for you, and they will be sincere to him?" They looked at her with surprise. She said, "They are poor and want to get close to the king." She led them to her mother. Moses' mother was summoned to the palace, and Asiya offered to let her nurse him in the palace with every comfort. Moses' mother said, "No, I am a married woman, and I do not want to leave my house. If you wish, you can give him to me to nurse him in my home." They did so. Moses' mother went back to nurse her son and receive a salary from Pharaoh's palace. Their house became one of the richest among the Israelites. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace. One day, Pharaoh came to play with him, and Moses grabbed Pharaoh's beard and pulled out some hairs. Pharaoh was angry and intended to kill him, but Asiya said, "No, he is a boy who has no sense." They offered him a date and a hot coal. He grabbed the hot coal and put it on his tongue, which was burned. This is where the impediment in his speech came from, which he later asked Allah to remove. Moses grew up strong. One day he came upon two men fighting, one from the Israelites and the other a Copt. The Israelite cried for help, so Moses struck the Copt, who died instantly. Moses was scared. The next day he found the same Israelite fighting another man, who called for his help. As Moses approached, the Israelite said, "Do you want to kill me as you killed a person yesterday?" And his secret was revealed. The Copt rushed to Pharaoh and told him that Moses was the killer. Pharaoh intended to kill Moses. At that moment, a righteous man came from the farthest part of the city, running to tell Moses, "O Moses, the chiefs are conspiring to kill you, so leave. I am one of your sincere advisers." Moses believed the man, so he left in fear, looking around and headed toward Midian. Moses reached the well of Midian, where he found people gathered around the water and two women holding back their flocks at a distance. He asked them, "What is your matter?" They said, "We cannot water our flocks until the shepherds have gone, and our father is a very old man." So Moses went forward and watered their flocks for them. The two women returned to their father early. He asked them the reason, and they told him about Moses. One of them said, "Oh, my father, hire him. The best one you can hire is the strong and trustworthy." The father went to call Moses, or sent one of his daughters. One of them came to him, walking shyly, and said, "My father invites you so that he may reward you for watering our flocks for us." So he went with her. Moses entered the home of the righteous man, who is said to be the prophet Jethro. Moses told him his story, and the man said, "Do not fear, you have been saved from the unjust people." The man offered to marry one of his daughters to him in exchange for him serving him for 8 years, and if he completed 10, it would be a favor from him. Moses agreed. Moses tended the flocks for 10 years. He married the younger daughter and spent 10 years in the desert away from civilization. At the end of the term, he decided to return to Egypt with his wife. On his way, he saw a fire near Mount Sinai. He said, "I have seen a fire." When he reached it, he found it was a green olive tree burning with a cold fire. Allah called out to him, "O Moses, indeed I am the Lord of the worlds. Take off your sandals. You are in the sacred valley of Tuah." Allah spoke to him and commanded him to throw his staff. When he threw it, it turned into a great snake, and he feared and ran away. Allah called to him, "Do not fear." He commanded him to grab it, and it turned back into a staff. He also told him to put his hand in his pocket, and it would come out white, not with leprosy. Moses returned to Egypt, and Allah revealed to his brother Aaron to meet him. Aaron also became a prophet along with Moses. They went together to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, "Did we not raise you among us as a child?" So Moses showed him the 2 miracles. They agreed to meet on the day of the festival. 1,000,000 magicians were gathered from all over Egypt. On the day of the festival, the magicians threw their ropes and staffs, and they made people's eyes believe they were snakes. Moses was afraid, but Allah commanded him to throw his staff. He did, and it turned into a great serpent that devoured all the magic the magicians had made. At that the magicians prostrated and said, "We believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses." Pharaoh was angry and killed them all. Allah commanded Moses to take the Israelites out. They left at night. Pharaoh and his army followed them. They reached the sea, and Moses' companions said, "We are surely overtaken." Moses said, "No, for my Lord is with me. He will guide me." Allah then revealed to him to strike the sea with his staff. The sea parted, and each part was like a great mountain. The Israelites crossed on 12 dry paths, while Pharaoh and his army followed them. As soon as they entered the sea, Allah drowned them all. After their salvation, The Israelites asked Moses to make them a god like the one the idolaters had. Moses was angry. Moses went to Mount Sinai to speak with his Lord and commanded his brother Aaron to remain with the people. While Moses was away, the Samaritan made them a golden calf to worship. When Moses returned, he was furious and threw down the tablets that Allah had written with his own hand. He grabbed his brother Aaron by the head and pulled him. Then he destroyed the calf. After that he asked 70 of the best men of his people to go with him to apologize to Allah. Allah was angry with them. But then he forgave them on the condition that they kill each other as an act of repentance. Then Allah commanded them to enter the Holy Land. But they were cowards and said, "Go you and your Lord and fight, we will sit here." So it was forbidden for them for 40 years, during which they wandered in the desert. During their wandering, Aaron died. And when Moses was accused of killing him, Allah showed them his innocence. And when they were thirsty, Allah commanded Moses to strike the rock with his staff, and 12 springs gushed forth from it. In another story, an orphan killed his uncle to inherit him, and then threw his body among another tribe to accuse them. When they disagreed, they went to Moses to judge between them. Allah commanded them to slaughter a specific cow, which they found in the possession of a young orphan who was devoted to his mother. After searching for it, they bought it for its weight in gold from the boy. And they took a part of it and struck the dead man with it, and Allah brought him back to life. The man told them that his nephew was his killer. After all these years, Moses longed to meet Allah. The angel of death came to him in the form of a man. Moses struck him and put out his eye. The angel of death returned to Allah, who commanded him to go back and offer Moses the choice between death or life for as many years as the hair on the back of a bull he would touch. Moses chose death, entered his grave, and the angels took his soul and buried him.